Hello wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Tag Team. I'm your host, the Invincible E, Vincent. Caesar Scorpio is a little under the weather today, so I'm going to go ahead and take the reins for the TNA Impact review. Tonight's show actually started with a review of Bobby Roode's actions as of late, and the disappointment that other people are feeling about it. Sting comes out into the ring and calls Bobby Roode out. He says there's a lot of inmates try to run the asylum, but the warden is in and he's about to pretty much lay down the law. He calls Bobby Roode down. Bobby Roode comes out and Sting tells him that he's got to go ahead and get it in line. After taking out AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy last week, that he was out of line. Bobby Roode says, "Oh, you mean when I took them out and made all that great TV for you and basically added to the ratings, etc. By the way, you're welcome." Gets ready to leave. Sting tells him, every time he steps out of line, there's going to be consequences from here on in. And at that point, AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy come out, and Sting goes ahead and explains that he's going to have a three-way match against AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy tonight. And Bobby Roode is upset. He's again going into his no Sting no speech patterns, getting all upset. But Sting says, "Hey, my word is law. Do what I said." Ta-ta. And moving on from there, Karen Jarrett out in the garage parking area. She has all of the knockouts lined up. They're in robes. And she's telling him that because they screwed up so badly last week with the lingerie bouts that they were supposed to have, that she was going to go ahead and teach them a lesson by having them wash all of the wrestlers' cars. Not sure what part of wrestling that actually is. Angelina Love was voicing her opinions about it. She wasn't too into it. Neither were most of the other knockouts. But they went ahead and got that started. Madison Rayne was first to start it, being the apple polisher that she is at this point. I went ahead and threw her robe off, showing herself in a nice bikini. And they started washing the cars. And the show moved on. Got more interesting, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, moving on from there, we had Eric Bischoff and Bully Ray discussing in the backstage area what's been going on with Garrett Bischoff, and how Eric Bischoff is gonna want to see if there could be something that can be done about that situation, namely once again having either Gunner take another run at Garrett or something to that effect. Also, Bischoff is concerned about Abyss. Now that they treated him like garbage and they ran him off, and now he's steaming mad, and now Immortal is basically pretty much weakened without his presence there. And so they want to try and find a way to bring Abyss back into the fold, back into Immortal. Bully Ray says he'll work on it, and then they go away. Following that, again, still haven't gotten to a match yet, and this continues. The knockouts are outside washing the cars. Nice eye candy, can't complain. ODB comes up to Karen and makes it known that she's been looking for it for a few weeks. Since she has basically had a match pretty much since she got reinstated. Other than I think one run-in she had with Velvet Sky. They went. She and Karen talked a little bit. Karen said that she had a match for her tonight. She wanted ODB to go toe-to-toe with Mickie James, and if she was able to hurt Mickie James, so that she couldn't go against Gail Kim, ODB would in turn be pushed up into the #1 contender spot, so that she would be able to go against Gail Kim. And ODB was cool with that, and they moved on to the next segment, which was in fact 30 minutes into the show. They finally got to the first match. This was the tag match between Mexican America versus Inc. versus the Pope and Devon. This was for the #1 contenders match for the tag title, which is currently being held by Matt Morgan and Crimson. Now, the first half of this match was pretty much the Pope going against Anarquia and Hernandez. Inc. a little bit of action, but mostly got frozen out of the match until the very, very end. Jesse Neal was able to tag himself in after Anarkia got rolled out of the ring, and the match ended when Devon pinned Jesse Neal after Neal accidentally speared Hernandez while he was going for Devon. After Devon pinned Neal, he got the 3 count, and the Pope and Devon were the winners. So they're now the #1 contenders for a title shot against Matt Morgan and Crimson. Now after the break, Austin Aries came out, pointed out that he says that he's the greatest man who ever lived, which is awesome. Just everybody should just say that to themselves when they get up in the morning. That's just an awesome statement. But now he's so great that he even surprised himself with his level of greatness. He says there's nobody in the X division that can touch him. He's pretty much beaten everybody who could put up any competition against him. He beat Jesse Sorensen decisively, and he's pretty much almost done with the X division. Now at this point, Kid Cash comes out and snatches the microphone away from Aries. Now, Kid Cash has a reason to be upset, as he points out that he feels that Aries screwed him, both when they had the 3-way match against Jesse Sorensen, where at the last minute he ran in and got the pin to retain the title. Aries did, and also when he had the match against Sorensen again, where he basically it was a 2-on-2 match, tag match, where Austin Aries and Kid Cash were on the same team, and at one point Austin Aries just ducked out of the ring and walked away, leaving Kid Cash basically in a handicap match. Now this went on, it went back and forth a little bit. Aries finally says, look, if Kid Cash shakes his hand, he can have a title shot against him at Final Resolution. Now they shake, but while they're shaking, both of them try to basically sucker punch the other one, and it turns out that Kid Cash's sucker punch was more effective than Austin Aries' sucker punch. Austin Aries walks away saying, "You tried to sucker punch me? You tried to sucker punch just for that? Now you can't have the title shot." But I'm pretty sure it's still gonna go ahead, which as it should. Nice little sequence. A whole lot of talking during this show tonight. Basically setting up new angles, new matches, etc., going towards Final Resolution. So we only had 4 matches tonight, but a whole lot of talking. But some of it was good, some of it was just filler. Gunner, Gunner went looking for Garrett Bischoff after this. This is what I'm talking about with the filler. He goes to what was supposed to be Garrett Bischoff's gym, beats up like 5 guys, talks a whole lot of smack. Garrett is anywhere to be found. Basically, I think they just needed to fill up about 2 minutes worth of footage there. Moving on from that, Jeff Jarrett complains to Sting about Jeff Hardy being back, and how he's besmirching the name of TNA Impact, and as the founder of TNA, he's disgusted with it. Sting tells him that if he interferes in the match tonight, where Jeff Hardy's going to be competing, that there will be consequences. And Jeff Jarrett, as Sting is walking away, says maybe he's willing to pay those consequences. So we continue from there, where the next sequence where the Knockouts still washing cars, still looking good, still filling up time. Moving on, Scott Steiner and Bully Ray have a talk about how they need to go about getting Abyss back into the fold with Immortal. Scott Steiner is awesome at saying stuff loudly, emphatically, and not making any sense. At one point, Bully Ray even told him English, and you could almost tell that Bully Ray was finishing the sentence with what Samuel L. Jackson said in Pulp Fiction. Can you speak it? But more or less, Scott Steiner pointed out that maybe they should see if they can get Abyss some girls. He can get girls 9 days out of the week. Bully Ray pointed out that there's only 7 days in the week. Point was made. They go out and proceed to try and get Abyss some girls, and the show continues. Mickey James and ODB. This was again, match number 2. This was about an hour into the show. Finally get around to match number 2. Mickie James versus ODB. This was a street fight match. Basically, Falls Count Anywhere. They went from the ring, out of the ring, to the backstage area, all over the Impact Zone. Attention WWE. For the female wrestlers, if you want them to have good matches, like, you can do it, just let them have some time. This is an example of, how you have a good Knockouts or Divas match. This was a good match. It was, seeing as how there was only 4 matches, this was actually one of the better matches of the evening. Mickie won after ODB tried to hit her with a chair and missed. Mickie responded with a kick that hit the chair, which in turn hit ODB in the face, knocked her out, and she got the 3 count and the win. But yeah, pretty good match. Moving on, there were a couple of girls that showed up. Apparently, these were the girls that Scott Steiner and Bully Ray went to go find for Abyss. They were wandering around in the backstage area of the Impact Zone, talking about all they know about this guy is that he's a wrestler, which means he's rich and he's probably in good shape. This is Abyss. What they obviously didn't know what they were talking about, but they wound up going up around, and I presumably to the area where Abyss stays, and the show continued. Taz and Mike Tenay were speaking with James Storm after this via satellite at his home in Nashville, while James Storm is still recuperating from a concussion delivered by Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle actually pops up behind them. Puts on some headphones like he's supposed to be in the announcing section, and starts talking to James Storm. Basically, kind of goads him into showing up next week, even though he's not clear to wrestle. But James Storm says that he will be there because he's not going to wrestle him. He's gonna fight him. He's gonna kick his ass. Now this was supposed to be them making their match at Final Resolution, which is going to take place next week, official. So we'll see what happens next week with that. Now, match 3, this was the TV title. This was RVD versus Robbie E. Now, RVD was pretty much all over Robbie E at the start of this match. It went back and forth a little bit, but Robbie E was taking most of the falls, and RVD was doing what RVD does. Towards the middle of the match, RVD went up for a frog splash. He was actually up on the top turnbuckle, or getting ready to climb rather, onto the top turnbuckle, when Rob Terry tried to sweep his legs with his arm as he was standing outside of the ring. Now, after Rob Terry's attempted interference, Eric Young runs from the backstage area and comes and starts threatening Rob Terry with a fire extinguisher. This draws Earl Hebner, the ref's attention. So Earl Hebner is paying attention to this situation going on. RVD did manage to get a 5-star frog splash, and he went for the cover. Now, Christopher Daniels comes out, jumps to the ring, attacks RVD, and he gets the angel wings, the sit-out face buster on RVD, and then drags Robbie E over to cover RVD, and then sneaks away. This is just in time for Earl Hebner to remember that he's supposed to be refereeing the match inside the ring. He gets in and gives the 3 count, and Robbie E goes away the winner and retains the TV title. Now, after this, the Bikini Car Wash continues. Now, at this point, the girls are getting upset. They're splashing each other. It deteriorates into a water fight. Soapy water fight. Awesome. Awesome. This has nothing to do with wrestling, but I am a man, so deal with it. Moving on to match number 4. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode backs out of the ring early. He basically wants to see if he can get the 2 people who are trying to attack him to fight each other instead. Good strategy. Didn't quite work out that way because they teamed up on him and unloaded on him. And pretty much they worked together through the first about half of this match. once they actually split to a commercial. Once they came back, Bobby Roode is actually leaning on AJ Styles. He had apparently kicked Hardy out onto the floor before that. Now Roode went for the pin on AJ. Hardy went to go for the rescue with a double axe handle, swinging towards Roode, but instead he hit AJ Styles. This is the beginning of the end of this union here. Hardy jumped in after he tried for the rescue. During a following sequence, or another sequence later, actually, Roode smacked the back of Hardy's head while Hardy was turned, and then rolled out of the ring. Hardy turned around and thought it was AJ Styles. These two started going back and forth at each other, and the union is pretty much broken. This is where Roode takes advantage and fends off both of them for a while. The match ended with Hardy getting the twist of hate, and then getting up on the top turnbuckle to go for the Swanton Bomb. Now this is where Jeff Jarrett pops up and sweeps Jeff Hardy's leg off of the turnbuckle, so he falls down on the buckle. Roode manages to pin Hardy, and that's the end of the match. Roode wins. Now Sting comes out and tells Jeff Jarrett that he has a steel cage match, because he interfered. Now he has a steel cage match with Jeff Hardy at Final Resolution. If Hardy wins, then he becomes the #1 contender. But if he loses, then he has to leave TNA, just like Jeff Jarrett basically wanted. Now, let's see. Now, actually, I take that back. That match is not going to take place. Well, the steel cage match will take place at Final Resolution. If Jeff Hardy wins, then he'll be the #1 contender for a title shot, which will take place at Genesis in January. Now, Karen Jarrett comes out. She gets involved and starts complaining about that it's not fair that Jeff Hardy has to be in that situation. And Sting tells her that just to make sure she doesn't interfere, she's going to be handcuffed to Sting while their match is going on, so she doesn't interfere like she did in so many other situations where Jeff Jarrett was competing. And she complains, and that's basically the end of the show. Now, let's see. Yeah, that was basically it. So that's pretty much it for now. Go ahead and check with us on Monday for the Monday Night Raw review. And for myself, the Invincible E, Vincent, and the Absent Caesar Scorpio, take care.